Is this the same brother? Is this the same brother? You're not in the spirit, brother. Sit down. Started your false prophecy. You are a false prophet. And security, take him out of here.
And he was trying to give me some illegal.
When the pulpit gets messy, it's not outsiders doing the talking, it's their own people. From hidden affairs to million-dollar scams, these pastors weren't exposed by tabloids. They were exposed by the very folks who sat in their churches' seats. Number 13, Pastor Terry Hornbuckle. Let's kick things off with a pastor whose escapades came to light courtesy of not one but two members of his church. Pastor Terry Hornbuckle is the founder of the Victory Temple Bible Church located in Arlington, Texas. The church, which started with only 15 members in 1986, grew very quickly under Hornbuckle's tutelage. It was renamed Agape Christian Fellowship in 1992 and moved to a $3 million building in '99. In the year 2006, two members of his church stepped forward with allegations of drugging and seawall assault against their pastor. Another victim who wasn't a congregant at his church also accused the pastor of the same offenses. In August of the same year, Hornbuckle was found guilty of the crimes, and as punishment he was sentenced to 15 years behind bars.
The red flags.
Found myself literally awakening one day to the news media that there were these accusations against my ex-husband.
However, in 2020, 2 days before he was due for release, the jury ruled that Hornbuckle posed a danger to his environment and was likely to commit the same crime. Hence, they recommended subjecting the former preacher to psychiatric treatment in a facility approved by the state. He is to remain there for an unspecified period. According to the state prosecution team, Hornbuckle showed a lack of insight regarding the causes of the assault. He was described as a manipulative person with a sense of entitlement and a desire to force unwanted sex on women. Number 12, Pastor Mike Todd.
To do in your life, and we are in week 4 of a series we're entitling Mustard, and we're talking about the size of the faith that God needs.
Pastor Michael Todd has often found himself and his church at the center of controversies. The young, dynamic pastor has often explored ways to make his church appeal to a broader audience. This has led to the adoption of unconventional methods that end up sparking outrage from the Christian community. Before becoming the lead pastor of Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Mike Todd served the ministry for 15 years under the founders, Bishop Gary and Pastor Debbie McIntosh. He was chosen to lead the church in February 2015 and has managed to grow 25,000 followers online and offline.
And
During a church service in 2022, Todd stirred controversy when he spat in his hands and rubbed them on a church member's face. While he apologized the following day, that didn't stop some members of the congregation and staff from departing the ministry. While some shared their feelings with people close to the pastor, many took to social media to express their disappointment, calling him a false prophet and describing him as messy.
I had written off every good thing that I'd ever done because of one thing that wasn't a sin. It was just gross.
Speaking about the incident 2 years later, Todd claimed that his name was taken off conferences by pastors and that podcasts were held to discuss him. The preacher also came under intense scrutiny in 2023 after an Easter service that looked like a hip-hop concert. The controversial service featured choreographed dances, reworded hip-hop lyrics, and demonic attires, but Todd claimed it was meant to attract more people to religion. Number 11, Bishop Thomas Weeks.
Featured in 4 magazines that I didn't even know. And you saw this woman on the stage with this all-black big suit on, just about to fall off of her.
Prophetess Juanita Bynum has been involved in some controversies, but this time we're approaching from the angle of her former partner, Bishop Thomas Weeks III. The two got married in 2002 and built the Global Destiny Ministries before their divorce 5 years later. The situation became messy before they could finalize their separation, culminating in an attack by Weeks on his estranged wife. In court, Weeks pleaded guilty to aggravated assault, explaining that he grabbed, threw, and kicked Juanita at the Renaissance Concourse Hotel parking lot. The judge sentenced him to 200 hours of community service with a 3-year probation period and a mandatory anger management class.
As a pastor, a leader,
a person in the community, hopefully somebody that can stand up with other men and tell them, walk away if you can, and still walk away.
While the divorce proceedings were ongoing, Weeks was also called out by a church member identified as Suzanne Ellis. Suzanne launched a $90,000 lawsuit against the pastor and his church, Global Destiny Inc., for allegedly failing to pay her back for the purchases she made for the church with her cash and credit card when she was a worker. While there was no written agreement, her attorneys claimed she had been reimbursed for similar items in the past. They added that Suzanne quit after her repeated demands to be reimbursed were disregarded. Weeks was reported to have had financial issues following his divorce. He was sent packing from his $2 million estate in Duluth and almost lost his church. Number 10, Reverend Jermaine Simmons. Reverend Jermaine Simmons is the senior pastor at Jacob Chapel Baptist Church in Tallahassee. He became the pastor in 2005, helping the church add over 4,000 members and opening 27 ministries with a focus on the youth and the homeless. However, behind the good job of advancing the ministry, the clergyman was also involved in disgraceful acts behind closed doors. He was eventually caught up with in 2017 when a member found him sleeping with his wife in their home. Benjamin Stevens III and his 34-year-old wife, Claynisha Stevens, were congregants at the Jacob Chapel Baptist Church, and they had been married for 7 years. On the 17th of January 2017, he received a call from his son's school that Claynisha had not come to pick him up. Stevens tried reaching his wife but couldn't, so he proceeded to pick their son up from school and went straight home. On his arrival, he heard strange noises from one of their daughter's rooms and went to investigate. However, he was confronted with the haunting sight of his wife and their pastor engaging in the shameful act. Stevens confronted the pastor with a handgun, but he escaped their home naked and without his car keys. It took the intervention of the police, who also charged Stevens with aggravated assault. Claynisha revealed they had been having an affair for a while, and the pastor came to the house that day to discuss his philanthropic programs. However, Simmons remained the pastor of the church. He stated that God had already forgiven him and got the support of his wife and congregation. Number 9, Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Quite the text, and the Lord has been speaking to me about it off and on for some time. I want you to pray with me that I might be able to communicate with you.
Motivational speaker and respected non-denominational pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes has also been exposed by members of his church. In 2024, 2 brothers and fellow pastors stepped forward to accuse the bishop of grooming and sea-wool misconduct. Pennsylvanian man Dwayne Youngblood joined Larry Reed on his YouTube talk show to reveal how the renowned clergyman tried to groom and sea-woolly abuse him. His story was corroborated by his brother, Reverend Richard Youngblood, who swore an affidavit that he heard Dwayne talk about it in the past. Reverend Richard didn't stop there. He also filed his own lawsuit alleging that the pastor got into bed with him on one of their church trips.
I'm still on the offering text. I'm sorry. Lord have mercy, Jesus. I'm off to a bad start. Y'all better pray harder.
Bishop Jakes responded by filing his own lawsuit against the brothers, but Dwayne filed for it to be dismissed. He said it's the case of a powerful individual trying to silence their victims. All these happened while Jakes, founder of the Potter's House Church, had his name mentioned alongside Sean Diddy Combs in a lawsuit that accused the singer and music producer of racketeering and sea-wool misconduct. In December 2024, Jakes' lawyers filed for the revelation of identities of individuals who had been associating the pastor with Diddy.
Well, I'm used to Dr. Tubman thanking me for the privilege of inviting him to speak, but now I got to learn how to switch it around and do it the other way.
Bishop T.D. Jakes grew his church from a few hundred to thousands, and it is currently one of the biggest megachurches in the United States. He has previously been accused of presenting the gospel in bad light and criticized for his views on homosexuality. Number 8, Pastor Chris Hill. Pastor Chris Hill of the Potter's House was also caught having an affair with a church member's wife, but he wasn't caught by the husband. This time he was caught by his own wife. Chris Hill is the senior pastor of the Potter's House Church of Denver. He is well known for being a spiritual son and protege to Bishop T.D. Jakes. On the 26th of September 2014, Pastor Hill and his wife Joy Hill were present when Shernay, a church worker, got married to her husband Arthur McFarland III. Unknown to his wife, wife and others present, it was the minister himself who would desecrate the holy matrimony 3 years into the marriage. After Joy Hill started seeing suspicious movements from her husband, she hired a private investigator who followed the minister and confirmed an affair with Shernay, their supposed goddaughter. After the confirmation, she sent text messages to members of the church about her findings and stated that she was leaving the ministry. "I want a husband that won't cheat on me or verbally and emotionally abuse me. Shernay is your new first lady now. I won't be coming round TPHD again," she said. Both marriages crashed after the incident, and Chris resigned from his position as pastor. It took the intervention of the pastor's mentor, Bishop T.D. Jakes, who reinstated him 3 months after the scandal. Number 7. Pastor Keon Henderson. Keon Henderson surged in popularity after his marriage to Shawnee Henderson, ex-wife to Shaquille O'Neal. However, the clergyman has managed to stay in the news thanks to a series of controversies regarding his preaching and actions on the altar. The pastor who oversees the affairs of the Lighthouse Church in Houston has come under fire for his teachings that aim to extract as much money as possible from members into the church's purse. In one of his more disturbing sermons, Pastor Henderson discouraged giving money to the poor. According to him, there is no blessing connected to this act. He said giving to the poor only benefits the receiver, and that the only way for the giver to receive benefits is if they gave it to the church in the form of tithes. Not only did this draw the murmur of church members, but it circulated on social media, with many finding the message odd.
Dropping money, but let me tell you something. The poor will be with you always, and there is no blessing connected to blessing the poor other than getting back what you gave to them, but no multiplication.
But the preacher was serious about making more money for the church. In a message to church members following the damage to the church from Hurricane Beryl, Henderson pleaded with the congregants to donate towards building a new and larger church. He demanded a donation of $2,100 from 2,100 people to reach the target of $4 million within 21 days.
I'm asking 2,100 people to give $2,100 in the next 21 days.
Again, members and others online think this is another ploy to manipulate churchgoers into parting ways with their money to enrich the pastor. Number 6. Pastor Creflo Dollar. It is a big enough issue when members of the congregation expose a pastor, but when those members are also family members, it's a full-blown scandal. That's precisely what we got Pastor Creflo Dollar. In June 2012, Dollar, who has 5 children with his wife Taffy, was accused of attacking his 15-year-old daughter. According to the story, corroborated by his older daughter, Dollar choked and punched the girl. He was subsequently arrested by the Fayette County Sheriff's Office in Georgia.
Pastor, can you say what happened? Love them. Same problem everybody, parents going through. Anything you want to say to your congregation?
He denied the allegations, but was required to attend anger management sessions before the charges could be dropped. Clarifying the incident to his congregation, Dollar stated that it was just a family conversation that got emotional. He denied punching or choking her and added that the bruise on her neck was from a prior injury.
The truth is that a family conversation with our youngest daughter got emotional. She was not choked. She was not punched.
Creflo Augustus Dollar Jr. is an American televangelist who founded Christian World Changers Church International, a ministry based in Atlanta, Georgia. He has often been criticized for his version of the gospel, which focuses on preaching prosperity. In addition to owning mansions in New Jersey and Atlanta, Dollar travels in private jets and Rolls Royces.
The prosperity gospel is a biblical heresy.
In 2015, he took things a step further when he asked the congregation to buy him a $65 million jet, the Gulfstream G650. He claimed he needed the jet to travel at his convenience and added in a sermon that he was free to believe God for a $65 million plane. "You can't stop me from dreaming. I'm going to dream until Jesus comes," he said.
In which way is this jet important for your ministry?
Well, in order for me to do what I've been called to do, the airlines, they don't fly my schedule.
Number 5, Pastor E. Dewey Smith.
And the 59th chapter. Good to see all the preachers from Morehouse here tonight. God bless you all. Amen. The book of Isaiah,
The House of Hope Ministry is a mega church with multiple branches across the United States. Its senior pastor is Pastor E. Dewey Smith, a clergyman who has delivered messages of the gospel for over 30 years. When he founded the House of Hope Ministry, there were only 19 members, but they've grown to over 15,000. In a revelation to Christian journalist Larry Reed, a woman identified as Octavia accused the pastor and his ministry of covering a Sewell assault case. Although she admitted to getting assistance from the ministry, she claimed that she was also assaulted and that the church decided to cover up the story.
Pass me not, O gentle Savior.
Octavia alleged that she complained to the church leaders about the incident, but rather than help her get justice against the perpetrator, they compelled her to sign confidentiality documents that prevented her from divulging the incident. Larry Reed shared that he went through a similar treatment at the hands of the church. After uncovering details of the pastor's extramarital affair, which led to a child out of wedlock, he said they made him sign an agreement that prevented him from reporting the case. He said another source confirmed the scandal, but the church deployed resources to cover the story. Meanwhile, the church has filed a subpoena asking the journalist to release the information he has on Octavia's case. Number 4. Pastor David E. Taylor. While Pastor David E. Taylor became popular in 2015 when videos surfaced online of his ridiculous answers during an interrogation, members of his church did not expose him until 2019, when a report surfaced about his abusive behavior and claims of running the church like a cult.
Oh, this is a place that the ministry owns. Well, not own, we're in the process of buying that.
In the expose, former workers at the Joshua Media Ministries International in Michigan, where David was a senior pastor, accused the pastor and other church leaders of manipulation, Sewell misconduct, abui, and mismanagement. According to Chris Sorensen, a former worker, workers work multiple days in a month without sufficient rest days, leading to sleep deprivation. Sorensen said he joined the ministry because that's what he wanted. He said his decision was fast-tracked after he received a personal message from the pastor on Facebook. However, he discovered after joining the ministry that they had staff members sending the same message to thousands of people. He was expected to send 1,000 messages and help the ministry secure at least a $500 donation every day. He and 2 other former workers, Bill and Lisa Hody, added that they were taught to lie to get added benefits. They said they had to sleep in tents without basic amenities, and Sorensen claimed to have witnessed the physical and verbal abuse of members by the pastor. Gospel singer Vicky Yohe, who had been in a relationship with Pastor David, also accused him of abuse and Sewell manipulations. In the infamous 2015 interrogation, Pastor Taylor came under fire when he repeatedly gave multiple answers to questions and refused to answer others.
I'm sorry.
Do you show that in your income that you got Louis Vuitton clothing?
No, that's not. That
doesn't show.
Because it don't go there.
Number 3. Bishop Lamore Whitehead.
Get him, Ho. Rumors Lucifer, I don't know who to trust. Whole world want my demise. Turn the music up.
Lamore Whitehead is an American Protestant pastor who founded the Leaders of Tomorrow International Churches. Also known as Pastor Bling Bling due to his ostentatious display of wealth, the minister has managed to find himself in some of the most high-profile scandals to hit the black church community.
Jesus Christ, I need y'all to get this. I need y'all to get this. Lord God, I need you to get this. Yoo-hoo! I need everybody to get this.
In 2021, a former member of his ministry sued Whitehead after claiming that the pastor defrauded her of $90,000. The former congregant, Pauline Anderson, had a deal with Whitehead, who agreed to improve her credit score, purchase a house for her, and renovate the house. However, Anderson received a text from Whitehead where the pastor said the money was a campaign contribution that he was not obligated to pay back.
Have lost your faith because you saw somebody else die what you about to go through. Yo, all right.
While the court proceedings were ongoing, Whitehead displayed confidential court documents to the public while proclaiming his innocence. However, he was convicted and sentenced to 9 years in prison. This isn't the first time he's serving a jail term. In 2005, the pastor was arrested by the Suffolk County Police after he used the identities of 9 residents to purchase Range Rover cars. After investigations, it was discovered that Whitehead was running an extensive operation that used fraud and identity to purchase vehicles with over over $2 million in loans. His long list of victims included 50 individuals from New York, Georgia, and Tennessee. He was charged with multiple counts of identity theft and sentenced to 5 years at the Sing Sing Correctional Facility. He was released in 2013 and founded his church a year later. Number 2, Pastor Eddie Long. Pastor Eddie Long is another pastor who was exposed by multiple members of his congregation. This time, 5 former members spoke up against the clergyman.
That's not a father. That's a predator.
In September 2010, the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, a megachurch in DeKalb County, Georgia, was shaken to the roots when a senior pastor at the ministry, Eddie Long, was accused of sexual impropriety. In separate lawsuits, the 5 individuals, Maurice Robinson, Anthony Flagg, Jamal Paris, Spencer Legrand, and Santino Kemp, accused the pastor of coercing them into sexual relationships using his position as a pastor.
Forget the smell of his cologne. And I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body.
According to the men, he justified everything he did and said with the scripture. They said his actions included paying them, buying them gifts, and covering the expenses for their trips abroad. The pastor failed to speak on the accusations but suggested readiness to fight back in a statement saying, "I have devoted my life to helping others and these false allegations hurt me deeply." The lawsuits were settled out of court with the terms undisclosed to the public.
Portrayed myself as a perfect man, but I am not the man that's being portrayed on the television.
Eddie Long had earlier been involved in another controversy after a 2007 Senate investigative committee looked into his church's finances, alongside others like Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Copeland, and Joyce Meyer. Long did not cooperate with the committee, and there was no proof of wrongdoing. Therefore, he escaped without any penalty, even though his donations were reported to have been affected. Number 1, Pastor John Gray.
You had to live this book. And nobody knows the cost of having to live that book. And the book champion won.
Pastor John W. Gray is an associate pastor of Lakewood Church, America's largest single-venue church based in Houston, Texas. The Cincinnati-born clergyman is also the senior pastor of Relentless Church in Greenville, South Carolina. Rumors spread online in 2018 and 2019 that Pastor John Gray was cheating on his wife, Aventer Gray. The marriage went through a rocky part, and they almost went their separate way before reconciling. The minister took responsibility and stood in front of his congregation to confess to them how he was having a hard time being a good husband. "We had to keep smiling because even though we were struggling, even though I was failing as a husband, I was already in front of the people, and the people can't really receive my brokenness," he said.
Now, just this week, news leaked that Pastor Gray had received a letter from an attorney from the Carpenters, a letter claiming that Relentless Church is behind on lease payments and is being evicted.
His wife, Aventer, admitted to considering divorce before having a change of mind after praying. She stated that she was standing by her husband and that she was avoiding the temptations of the devil. "The devil is a lie. I'm standing with my husband. Was I upset? Yes. Was I heartbroken? Yes. But you better learn how to get in there for the better and worse so when the worst shows up, you don't run away," she said. Some months after the incident, she got a Lamborghini truck gift from her husband as an appreciation for standing by him during the tough period. However, they would be drawn into another scandal when YouTuber Tasha K revealed the pastor was having another affair with a masseuse. They declined to comment, and it was all swept under the carpet. When church members expose pastors who are supposed to improve their spirituality, it signals a disturbing case of people breaking the trust others have in them. Thankfully, some of these pastors have taken steps to make things right. Some are, however, not that lucky, having to face the consequences of their disgraceful actions. A welcomed development that serves to deter others. But if it doesn't, let's hope more church members are willing to speak out against the injustices of their supposed spiritual leaders because, as always, we'll be here to bring you the cases. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. If you fancy more content regarding corrupt pastors, check out this video of pastors getting exposed on live TV. See you there.